So, Ally Hudson, love it or leave it, protagonists meet in the first 10% of the story.
I love it, but I don't get mad if they don't. So most of my protagonists meet in the first 10%, but book one, I'm setting up a lot and they don't meet for a little bit. It's probably 30-40%, which is pretty late.
Hmm. All right. Love it or leave it, dual point of view narration.
I like both as a reader. As a writer, I try to be really thoughtful about which point of view I'm using. So some books are single point of view, some are dual. The one I'm currently drafting is single for the first three quarter or first little over a third, and then I'm switching to dual POV because somebody has a secret and I don't want everybody to know
Hmm.
it yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has secret motivations and people don't need to know what they are yet.
That's so creative. I love that. Love it or leave it, third person past tense.
I love it as a reader, but I, as we said, write first person past tense, and I am switching to third person past tense. I read lots of genres, so it doesn't bother me either way, but I understand it can be jarring for people who only read third person past tense to switch to first person. So I hear the complaints. I acknowledge them.
Love it or leave it, third act breakup or dark moment.
I I love it actually. I love that feeling that I get. It might be a medical condition where you get like a pain down your arm when something awful has happened in the book. I don't know. I should probably see
I
a
think that's
doctor
called a
about
heart
it.
attack.
Probably a medical condition, but I only get it when I read like the heartbreaking moment where they're devastated and they're never going to be happy again. Ugh, I crave that.
Yes, because you know there's a catharsis at the end
Yeah,
of it. Yeah. Love it or leave it, always end with an epilogue.
I love a good epilogue. I won't complain if it's not there, but my books always have an epilogue thus far, and I don't see that changing. So
All right. Love it or leave it, always share research in your author's note.
I don't always share research in my author's note. I actually almost never do. I probably should, but I don't really write much of an author's note, honestly. I write them on books that I think need like a little warning. So the book that is not a happily ever after, double of mine has an author's note that's like, hey, this is not a happily ever after. Don't read if you don't want. That's my attempt to get out of the flaming reviews for yelling at me for killing a main character in not quite romance novel. So they can't say they weren't warned.
All right, so let's talk about this rule and many others maybe that you break that I didn't ask about. So, what made you decide to write it as its own novel rather than putting it in the form of a happy ever after romance novel?
We have a lot of widows in historical romance, which I think is accurate. People died a lot younger, throughout history than they do now. And every single one that I'd seen either had a really unhappy marriage, which I also do in a different book, or they had a happy marriage, but if you got to experience that with them at all, it was a couple chapters tops. And so you didn't get to know this character. You're just mourning through if it's a widow, a female main character, but you yourself are not mourning them. And I always wanted to explore what that would look like. And that character was one of the ones I mentioned that I fell in love with and decided needed her own book. That's Celine. I'm obsessed with her. And I wanted this kind of love triangle, but not a love triangle also. Like I feel like because I loved her so much, I wanted her to have two great love stories. And so and I knew I could end it on a happily ever after. There in the author's note, there's here's where you can stop for a happily ever after. But like so much of her story in the next book is about her grief journey. And I wanted readers who wanted to experience that to be able to. You don't have to have read it to enjoy the next book, but it's there if you're curious about why she loved this man so much and why his death has affected her in the way that it has.
And what have you heard from readers who have decided to read both books?
Readers who have read it love both books. They are probably where I got the most fans from.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of readers who won't read it, and I knew that going in. I fully expected to not have a lot of readers for that and to potentially lose some readers for it. I don't know that I've lost readers, but I do know that that book doesn't get picked up as often, nor should it. Or it'll get like 2-page reads on Kindle Unlimited and then disappear. I'm like, yep, the author's note
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
You didn't read the book that wasn't for you. Perfect. So yeah, I just wanted to explore that, and I think there is an audience for it. It's just a small audience, but they really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I did it. It's one of the reasons I'm happy that I decided to go indie because I would never have been allowed to do that as a traditionally published author. So,
Yeah, I love to see artists being true to their own artistic soul and taking the risks that you want to take. And, there are always readers out there for your
yeah.
stories. And there are plenty of readers out there who love a sad ending to a love
Mhm.
story. Just look at Nicholas Sparks fans.
Yes, exactly.
Are there any other rules that you like to break?
Well, the first person, and then I did throw my male book in the middle of my traditionally male female series, and I'm still figuring out the pairings exactly for the next series, but I'm thinking there's probably going to be a sapphic pairing in that one. That one of the characters is kind of hinting that to me. Yeah, I just don't want to segregate my characters. It's
Mhm.
not real life. Like there's no rule that says that you have to do it. So
Yeah,
I
so
can
the
go
rule
in
that you're
and
referencing, just to clarify, is not that you're adding the existence of LGBTQ
no, they are
characters.
there. They've
It's
always been there.
there's a
I'm
like
just
publishing rule or
yes.
like rule of thumb that like, oh, well, you have to publish that as a separate line. There should be a whole
Mhm.
series of gay characters and a whole
Yes.
series of straight characters.
And never the two shall mix. Yes,
Yeah.
you can't mix them in the same series. And I just don't think that we're giving readers enough credit. I read all pairings, and I think that I'm not alone in that. So we'll find out in June, but I think that I've had a couple readers ask for Tom and Xander. It's been hinted and building in previous books. So that was really exciting when somebody specifically asked for that. Because Tom has been a fan favorite since book one. People have been asking for Tom, and I was like, oh no, they're gonna be really upset if they're looking for Tom and a lady. But so far no one has outwardly complained about the hints that Tom is gay. So Xander is kind of out in my books, not in wide society,
The
just,
readers know.
but the readers know.